Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I am Gareth Morgan from WhatCulture.
And we are here with your afternoon news, hashtag good afternoons. I never know if that works or not.
I've never seen it happen.
Not sure. Gareth, what have we got coming up today?
We have got, WWE apparently had plans for the Spirit Squad, which involved something along the lines of the Horsemen, the Four Horsemen.
Eva Marie has called out an Australian airline for sexism.
The WWE NXT Women's Championship is about to undergo some serious changes.
The real reason Daniel Bryan doesn't wear a lovely branded WWE t-shirt to the ring.
And why WWE didn't necessarily think that Gallows and Anderson were tough enough.
This is the after news, I suppose. But we start with Bayley and her heel gimmick, which, do you think it's landed or not?
It's still trying to land.
Yes. Well, despite being the current SmackDown Women's Champion, Bayley still isn't too sure with this heel character of hers. In a recent interview with Kron, she admitted that her new character is, quote, super nerve-wracking to play, and she described the entire project as kind of hit or miss. Not hit or miss in terms of whether or not she thinks WWE is necessarily booking her well, but whether or not it's working with the fans. You may have seen videos doing the rounds on Twitter recently. Little children, typical Bayley fans, still love her, and she is having to sort of weirdly kind of fight that, even at stuff like house shows. I seem to remember a video the other day where there's just a little girl going, "I still love you, Bayley," and Bayley going, "I don't love you anymore."
Still your biggest fan.
So still, some kids are still very much, a part of Hugger Bayley, let's call her. But what do you think?
I know you're saying that she's not necessarily calling out WWE's kind of direction and kind of creative for her, but isn't that kind of the reason why it's probably hit and miss at this point? She's not directly going, they've ruined me, but I don't think it'd be as hit and miss if she had a clearer defined kind of take on the character, and I think it's because she's not been involved in certain kind of angles where you've gone, oh my god, it's despicable. She's like, how can I cheer her?
Yeah.
She's not.
I think, she came out, she attacked the Bayley Buddies thing, which was impactful. And the turn itself was really good.
Heck up.
It's just, I feel like that's the notes that they had, and then they were just like, right, archetypal heel, because her and Sasha have this unique thing, and there's definitely scope there, isn't there, to mix them up and eventually build to one of them turning face. Probably should be Bayley, as you said, as we head towards WrestleMania and the SmackDown Women's Championship, because it's kind of going to be an afterthought otherwise. But it's going to be weird to have her turn face again so quickly. Yeah,
because then it just kind of renders the entire the turn itself. The turn itself felt quite definitive, like you said, when she did cut down the Bayley Buddies. That was like, oh, big thing. Oh, it's going to go in a whole new direction. And she just kind of crescendoed, and she still seems like she's not too sure how to react in this character. And like you can see many times when I watch her on SmackDown, it's still this thing of she's delivering the lines, but you still see Hugger Bayley beyond the eyes, and it's this thing of I'm being evil, I'm being bad because my mate's bad. Can't really let my mate down. And it's that I kind of get that vibe from her. So I think like I kind of hinted to, like she's got the easiest segue into becoming a babyface again. And that's the money match in that women's division right now in terms of SmackDown.
Well,
she keeps the belt.
She thinks it's hit or miss. It's obviously not something she's very used to describing it as super nerve-wracking. But let us know in the comments section what you think of Bayley as a heel and what she can do to be more heelish, I suppose.
Be more heel. Yeah, that's a hashtag. Right, so the next one we're going to go into is a WWE pitched apparently when the Spirit Squad were a thing. Remember them?
Nikki, Mikey. That lot. Yeah,
I can hear Jackie! That's all I can hear there. That's great. They were apparently pitched in the early days of becoming a team as being something along the lines of the Four Horsemen.
This is an absolute joke, this story, isn't it?
So apparently, according to Dolph Ziggler on Corey Graves' After the Bell podcast.
Oh, it's nice that other people do podcasts. Not as good as ours, obviously.
That goes without saying. He said that WWE presented the stable to him and the squad, all the other members, as being a much, much, much cooler version of the Four Horsemen. Obviously, the NWA, WCW powerhouse led by Ric Flair himself. This is mad. Who would have been the leader? Who would have been the leader
Never
of this?
mind all that. They're a group of bloody cheerleaders. I realise Vince doesn't like old school wrestling, but we all know what the Four Horsemen were.
Yeah.
And Nikki, Mikey coming out and doing little spots and all ganging up to take out DX. Yeah. I mean, you can pitch it as the Four Horsemen. No one is ever going to buy that.
No, this was just wishful thinking, wasn't it? Really? Like, I mean, even Ziggler himself in the actual podcast kind of just sat back and went, yeah, I don't know what they were smoking. That's
absolutely
never going to happen. So yeah, it is what it is, that story.
Literally any other faction has been more like the Four Horsemen and the Spirit Squad. Right, let's move on and talk about former WWE star Eva Marie, who's taken an Australian airline, Qantas, to task on Twitter for apparent sexism. She posted about them refusing to let her enter the business class lounge because she was wearing her gym gear. Now, this isn't a dress code issue necessarily. Look, she said she supports a business right to enforce equitable dress code standards. Her issue here was the fact that her husband was let into the exact same lounge. He was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, effectively gym gear as well. So I suppose it's kind of one rule for the men, one rule for the women, and she's not best pleased about all this.
Yeah, I can see why. Just as a slight segue, I once nearly got sent off for playing a British Airways plane because I was wearing an orange Gold's gym vest. I just kind of split my thumb open and I was a bit delirious and I was sat in a string vest, and I think it was the air hostess was like, sorry sir, you can't go on this plane. I was like, I gotta get home. You just trust me, I'll be fine. So I got on, so I can kind of see.
No, she wants to do is get into the business lounge.
She had a split thumb, she was fine. So yeah, I can see it's the double standards thing, and you don't like reading stuff like this, really. I mean, you can say what you want about a kind of WWE career, but this is completely separate from that. This is just a human issue which shouldn't be happening. What do you think?
I was going to swear then. I was about to be like, what are you doing? Come on, Qantas, you can do bloody bit in there. Let her in the bloody business lounge. Right, quickly, let's move on before anyone notices my spectacular accent again.
Right, so next story revolves all around the NXT Women's Championship. We've obviously had Rhea Ripley has taken that gold recently, taking it from the double champion, the two-time champion. She's not double champion, she's not Conor McGregor. But yeah, this comes from PW Insider apparently, who was saying that the championship is now going to be referred to as the NXT Championship, not the Women's Championship, just the NXT Championship. This kind of comes off the back of Becky Lynch spoke on WWE backstage the other day about her wanting the women part of the women's division to be stripped away. And wrestling just to be referred to as wrestling really as a whole. There shouldn't be men's divisions, women's divisions, because you rarely hear it say, oh, this is what's going on down in the men's division. It's just a given. So I'm all for this. Like I see it as being a good thing, but then equally now we're going to have two NXT championships. It's just going to be a bit tough to differentiate, I guess.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to be that confusing. Is it? If you're complaining about this issue because you're like, whoa, who are they going to be talking about when they say? I sincerely doubt they're ever just going to say the NXT champion. They will say the NXT champion Adam Cole or the NXT champion Rhea Ripley. I think it's probably a sensible thing. Obviously, people will moan of, well, hang on 1 second, you've got women competing for what is supposedly the men's title in Impact Wrestling, so how does that work? But for me, so long as you preface it, pronouns, pal, so long as you preface it with, NXT champion Adam Cole or NXT champion Rhea Ripley or Raw champion Becky Lynch or SmackDown champion Bayley or however you want to do it, I'm totally fine with this.
It's the tiniest of shit. Like, it's one of those things where at first, like, if anyone is going to be like, it will literally blow over within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like the women's tag gold. Like, you rarely hear, like, that shouldn't be a thing. That should just be, the Asuka and Kairi Sane are the champions, the tag champions.
It works really well, and, we already call it the NXT Cruiserweight Championship after they changed its name about 3 weeks ago. So something out of nothing. What isn't, though, is the real reason why Daniel Bryan is not being seen wearing any WWE merch at the moment. It's a fascinating story, this. Now, obviously, we know his sort of Planet's Champion thing was obviously rooted in his real life opinions about the environment and the issues that surround that, which Vince McMahon also saw that and thought, God, what bloody heel he is. Anyway, but he told mysanantonio.com that he's a bit of a kind of a crossroads with merch. Basically, WWE had already previously told him to stop talking about the environment because they described it as a political issue, to which he responded, it's not a political issue, it's a scientific one. All he wants to do is spread a positive message of environmentalism. And the reason why you don't see him in any sort of Daniel Bryan or Planet's Champion or anything like that merchandise is because he is flat out refusing to wear WWE shirts until they are made out of organic materials that don't damage the environment, which not only fits with his character, but just him as a person, really.
I'm all for that. I mean, it's one of those things where if he's the only person doing it, it's a bit of a kind of futile, let's say, protest at this point. But if more people kind of Daniel Bryan's a likable guy, and if he's putting this out there to the world and saying, yeah, this should change, I can't see many people in the organisation, in terms of wrestlers anyway, sitting there going, nah, dude, you moan about nothing. It might start snowballing. More people might choose to take this stance, and then before we know it, we could be in a kind of more efficient way of making gear.
I've just had a flashback to the Royal Rumble burger from last year. Did you see that giant, like, nuggets on burgers on, I don't know, bloody pizza or something?
Yeah. Did he cut? I can't remember. Did he cut a promo on that burger?
He was, he was not happy.
Wonder what burger we're gonna get this year.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm already excited for the Rumble.
That's going on the predictions list, that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now, one final news story here is, yet again, WWE shooting themselves in the foot and then going, who shot me in the foot here?
Big hole there, I didn't put that there. Who did that?
Yeah, what do they say about Gallows and Anderson?
So, Gallows and Anderson, this legend, well, I'm saying legendary, it's probably a bit
legendary outside of WWE.
Yeah, outside of, do you know, when they actually did the good wrestling stuff. Yeah, they've kind of been, I don't know, branded as not exactly tough by Michael Hayes, according to Big E. That's in the New Day. So I just want to definitely reference the right podcast there. It's the Feel the Power podcast. So I've actually listened to it. I just forgot.
Literally the second best podcast after ours.
Exactly. Plug. But yeah, Michael Hayes apparently spoke to Big E when they were having that feud, when they had the awful testicles in the jar stuff.
Ring postitis.
That's the one, ring postitis, yes. So when that was going on, Big E had a bit of a chat with Hayes, and Hayes kind of brought up a few grievances, and he kind of like mentioned to him, I don't really think these guys are being represented as quite tough right now. I don't think they're up to it. And Big E just politely reminded him, you were the guys who put them in these positions, put them in the weird doctor's coats, made them do all the weird jokes, like, who's to blame? Yeah,
this is absolutely. I mean, it's insane, and yet it's completely within the realms of possibility within WWE that they bring a tag team in that had such an impactful debut as well as the club. They came in, they hit the Magic Killer on the Play Hard in the Paint Usos as they were known back then. Although it subsequently just became that's the Magic because then they didn't want to say the word killer. So they hit that. And it was like, okay, here we're going to go from here. And then they had this feud with the New Day, as you mentioned. They carried Big E's testicles around in a jar. And Michael Hayes is just like, yeah, they're just not aggressive enough, really, in the ring. It's like, well, they were up until you did stuff like that to them.
How do we combat the kind of formula right now? We've got these wrestlers that are quite like the badasses really in every other promotion. How do we combat that? How do we turn them into badasses of that company? Do the complete opposite.
Yeah,
that'll work.
Those people we dressed as comedy doctors, just not quite as threatening as I was expecting. Unbelievable, WWE. Why am I not surprised with anything you do? Well, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts, the best wrestling podcast around. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Whilst you're there, follow both of us. You can follow Gareth at
GMorgan04. Coincidentally, you're very good at that whole long talking thing. That was impressive.
It's just practice. Just practice. It's seared into my eyeballs as well. Tattooed, actually. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But this has been your afternoon news. My thanks to Gareth. Thank you for watching. And we will see you soon.